Women who attract a long-term committed relationship do one thing different than women who attract men who will never commit. This is controversial, but it's true. My name is Valerie Adams. I'm a dating coach, here to teach you the secrets to attracting your soulmate. If you're into that, give me a follow. The big mistake women make who attract men who just want to hook up and waste their time is that they entertain any scrap of attention he gives her. They set the bar so low, accepting last-minute dates, giving in to hooking up early on, thinking it will make him like her, but it backfires and he ends up fading away or ghosting her.
Wow, that's fantastic work, man. You have the wisdom of a 6,000 or 7,000-year-old man. That's fantastic. We don't have to fill up the whole blackboard after all.
You're leaving out a key element to this overtly generic statement there, sister, and that is this teeny tiny little detail about the types of men that you crave. Now, I understand why you're leaving it out, because by doing so, it completely changes what you're saying and will force your single follower to face reality. And we all know that there's one thing a modern woman fears, it's the truth. It's a known fact. Modern women fear the truth more than they fear their eggs rotting out faster than the mouth of your average OnlyFreaks creator. You're leaving out that if you want to avoid this kind of treatment, you've got to stop chasing Chadnam PI and understand that you have zero chance of locking him down. You're not the exception, no matter what Anne Hathaway has told you. If you want to be treated halfway decently, you gotta find yourself an average guy, live an average life, and not be butthurt over the fact that you have that average life. That'll pretty much solve the problem, more or less, but to a modern woman, fantasy is way more important than reality. So, a significant amount of hope has already been preemptively flushed down the frickin' toilet in that regard.
This is the mindset of the woman who wants to be chosen, who constantly finds herself in the never-ending cycle of attracting guys she's excited about on the surface, only to end up getting disappointed. A woman who ends up attracting a man who commits to her is a chooser. This woman is a queen. She's not putting all her eggs in one basket, she's calling in her soulmate, and she's not willing to take herself off the market for a question mark.
Take it from me, sister. You're a TikTok online dating coach. You are in no position to be talking about eggs in baskets, because it's that particular mindset that's gotten you into this mess. And if you're at this point, there's practically no going back. Allow me to illuminate. You chased after Tyrone Deanna Jones thinking that you had a chance with him. You hooked up with him thinking that your moldy bread box of slippery regret would be enough to win him over, even though your typical guinea pig would have told you otherwise. But now that you've had a taste of that particular forbidden fruit, there's no going back. Nothing else will suffice for you. By adopting your bonkers mindset, you're just setting yourself up for failure, sister. You want the looks, the resources, and the charm of Chad the Impaler, but the loyalty of the average guy, and that man in your league, at your age, at your level of desperation, does not exist. And going for that average man, you can give it a shot, but it's really not going to work out for you either, because you will never dream that man will be good enough for you because of what you've had in the past.
She's open to having multiple men pursue her, and she chooses the man who comes out on top. She isn't willing to settle for anything less than a life partner who can navigate life's biggest challenges with her. She has a full life. She views herself as whole. She's not dating to have a man complete her. She's dating to have a man add on to her already full life. And the biggest thing of all, she's not trying to move things forward or make it happen. She's completely detached in her feminine, and she trusts that if this is the man for her, he'll move things forward. This is the mindset of a chooser.
Wow. That's amazing.
Interesting. So your plan is to become the modern woman's equivalent to a politician. Just become an insufferable contradictory hypocrite. Okay, well, that actually makes a lot of sense. Not your plan. That's doomed to fail. That goes without saying. You're demanding the world when the peak of your value on the dating market has long since passed you. It's kind of like going to a bank manager and demanding a loan. You have no collateral, no history of paying bills back, your credit is god-awful, you're dressed inappropriately for a business meeting, and the pineapple upside-down cake that you baked to bribe this particular banker is right side up and practically practically inedible. And when he ultimately denies you for the thing you want, you blame him for not seeing you as the precious, special little snowflake flower that Taylor Swift songs told you that you were. Sweetheart, the best possible odds you have are to aim low and take what you can get. But even then, I'd still be a little cautious, because if your aim is anything like your logic, then I would be so fearful for any man that's standing 2 feet in front of you.
That's funny because it's so true.
It's so funny to me that when I talk about things like the importance of maintaining an equitable division of household tasks and mitigating mental load, that people will leave comments like, well, enjoy the mental load of being divorced at 40. If my marriage is wholly dependent on there being an inequitable division of labor in our household in which he is a willing and malevolent participant, pass the divorce papers. It's so telling that you think that being divorced would somehow be a worse fate for me than being in a lifelong relationship with a do-nothing man baby who didn't care to listen to his wife's concerns when she raised them.
Let's play.
Lady, just sign the divorce papers already. Just sign them, because what you're saying is just mean. The inequality of labor argument is so brain dead that coma vegetables possess more intellect. We already know it's stupid because you pose it as an all or nothing principle. Either that man does his fair share of the workload, which is whatever tasks you assign him plus half of yours, or he's a lazy man baby who doesn't care about you. You see the issue? Your go-to reaction for him not doing a massive list of random chores that you assign him is to insult him, denigrate his character, and emasculate him on the internet. And yet, he is somehow the childish one. And I'm willing to bet that man does plenty for you and the family, but you operate under the absurd idea that a marriage only works if the man works harder than the woman, that the man loves his wife more than the wife loves him, and that he must do more than the wife to prove his worth as a human being. Never mind that he swore a lifelong oath of loyalty to you and the family. Never mind that he works tirelessly to provide an income and a home for you, and never mind that he puts his mind and body and soul on the line to protect you and the kids on a daily basis. None of that matters because you had to do dishes one night. Poor frickin' you.
And there's usually 2 types of people that say this. The type of man that says this knows he brings nothing to the table, okay? So because he can't show you how good life can be with him, he has to convince you that life without him would be terrible, right? Because he knows he's got nothing good going on. That's why you see so many Republican men in different states trying to get rid of no-fault divorce, because they know the only way a woman would ever stay married to them is if they were quite literally forced to be.
That does not make sense.
All right, Madam Cellulite, let's go there. I can dismantle that moronic statement with one simple question. If all of these dastardly men want to trap their wives in loveless marriages by getting rid of their precious no-fault divorce, then why did these women agree to marry these men in the first place? Do you honestly expect me to believe that every single man that supports the banning of no-fault divorce all unanimously agreed to change who they were as people, to charm these women for years to the point of marriage, give them a house, a steady flow of income, and a family, only to turn around and become inhuman slave drivers on the very chance that no-fault divorce got banned? It's not a conspiracy to trap women in marriages. It's to prevent modern housewives from abusing the court system to break their vows and use men for alimony and child support for virtually no reason. Besides, you should be happy that no-fault divorce is getting banned in a few states, because now is your time to put in your fair share of that equitable labor you bitch about to make the marriage work. You finally get to prove yourself right and show us how it's done, sister.
You're welcome. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, don't mention it. Use that freedom in any way you like.
And a certain type of woman says this, and that is a woman who is trapped in her own very unhappy marriage. But in order to convince herself that her marriage isn't that bad, she convinces herself that, well, at least it's better than being divorced, which it's not. I don't know if you've seen the comments, but the divorced girlies are thriving. I deeply love and adore my husband, but if something flipped and he became the type of man that became obsessed with upholding patriarchal systems and didn't listen to me when I said it negatively impacted me and our marriage, yeah, I hope I would have the courage to leave him. My husband knows I'm very happy with him, I was happy before him, I would be happy after him if it came down to it, and I hope it never does. But we are with each other because we want to be married to each other, not because we feel this weird need to uphold societal expectations. You should try it.
You! I will think of you as I throw up into the toilet.
What's wrong with you, lady? How can you simultaneously say that you respect your husband while literally in the same sentence you disrespect him and tell him that you'd have no problem divorcing him the second things became inconvenient for you? That's a level of contempt I never thought possible. You are putting meaningless feminist gibberish in front of the vows of loyalty you swore to your husband, which is a pretty bold thing to do when you weren't even capable of defining what the patriarchy is without consulting Google. Modern marriages are a sham. I said it, I'll say it again if I have to. A meaningless gesture that ultimately goes nowhere thanks to the idea that the husband will never be able to do enough to make his wife happy. And honestly, when we got broads like this practically celebrating a woman's so-called right to abandon her vows the second she becomes a little weepy, can you really blame men for not wanting to bother with marriage anymore? I sure as hell can't.
Yeah, that checks out. That sounds about right.
Doing OnlyFans has had like a good impact on our relationship.
That's why I praise the Lord for prostitutes.
We're Hannah and James, and we need to talk. The first conversation we had about OnlyFans, doing it together as a couple, I think, first of all, was definitely made a lot easier because of our situation. Both being PTs in the industry, and with lockdown, all the gyms were closed, so we actually were really not very busy. We weren't able to sustain how we were going. I basically had a solo page before, and I was doing that for a while, and then we got chatting about it, and we were like, why don't we try and do it together?
Gentlemen and gents, this kind of stuff just absolutely fascinates me. Just think about it. We live in an age where when times get financially strained, the first inclination of a lot of folks is to join the online avenue stroller racket, an industry that is so oversaturated with filth, but every single one of them thinks that they will be an exception to make a bunch of money by filming themselves making stains for the internet to watch. And what's even more fascinating is how these morons think that their story is so interesting that people actually give a crap about their backstories, which are about as dull as a dollar store butter knife. It never ceases to amaze me how these dullards think that people actually give a hoot about the road that led them to porking for money.
I'm pretty sure when you first brought it up, I was a bit like, I'm not sure, because I also am not the type of person that's like, look at me, or I think I'm so sexy. But then when I thought about it more and we thought about the couple element, I think that's when I was like, actually, I could do this, because it turned into something very real and authentic and genuine.
Yeah.
Because we were just showing people a very little slice of our sex life instead of me pretending to be hanging around in lingerie all day, which I don't do.
Nobody cares, Sean. Nobody cares.
Imagine being so full of yourself that you think your private bedroom antics are so important to a community of strangers that you feel the need to charge them money to watch you. Lady, what you're doing is nothing special. If anything, all you're doing is taking something that is very personal and displaying it to the public and degrading something that should be held sacred between you and your husband. I mean, that's your choice. Much like it's my choice to call you out on your boring-ass backstory. You gotta do something there, sweetheart. Can't you just lie and say that you hail from the war-torn streets of New Jersey or something? Come on, lady, bring a book, because you drone on and on about this uninteresting garbage, and all I can think about is a word that rhymes with steel cores on the seashore while roasting s'mores with a broken drill bore. Hey, wait a second.
I've got an idea.
It was like, actually, let's film us.
We'll literally set up a camera sometimes on the corner of the room, and if one of us falls out of the bed, we'll leave that in the cut. When you look at mainstream porn, it is very set in a certain way and kind of creates false expectations for people.
So I've really enjoyed being open and showing people a healthy relationship dynamic, showing a man that actually cares about women's pleasure, and I've loved that sex positiveness about it. So I think I just have felt really truly me. We get to work together, we get to have sex whenever we want all the time. So I think it's had a really positive impact on my life.
Perchance some poetry before a fortnight.
As I sit and listen to these boring bastards prattle, it dawns upon me they are worth far less than chattel. They speak and talk and gibber and jabber, and what have they accomplished with such meaningless blabber? I assure you, with these fools, the answer is not nothing, for even the most depraved of dullards can bring us one good thing. As I listen, they bring me a nap, a snooze, a quick 40 winks, which is the only thing these prostitutes are good for, methinks. My heart aches for the poor fools who purchase their wares with their cash. They gleefully drop it down the privy to watch a couple of mids smash. So off with the both of you, be gone from my sight. I have too much to do, and unlike your wife, my schedule is rather tight. And that is going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, make sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.